welcome to
Dusty VCR!
The podcast where we rewatch old movies from our childhood and decide whether they still hold up. I'm your host, Michael Lynch, and I'm joined by my co-host and sister, Rachel Lynch. Rachel, how are you?
I'm excellent. I've had this whole week off of work.
Yeah, they fired you for your birthday.
They fired me for my birthday. They said, you can't come in.
Oh, that's too bad.
So my birthday was Monday.
Yeah.
And...
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm celebrating all week by doing fun activities and catching up on chores.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
What are some good birthday chores?
You know, one likes to clean a sheet.
Mm.
One might like to vacuum.
Oh, yeah.
One might like to...
The French way.
Yes. And one might like to organize the basement.
Mm. Yeah, important.
We'll see if I get to any of those things.
Yeah, it might seem like a pretty key word there.
Yeah.
But it's your birthday, so...
Yeah, I do what I want. One thing I'm excited about is I've been growing out my armpit hair.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. I was feeling a little self-conscious about that at first, you know, letting them all hang out.
Yeah.
But people have been really supportive and like, actually I'm getting a lot of compliments. People really like it. But honestly, I just have to say, like, I don't want people to get too attached because I am donating my armpit hair.
That's nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, and Zena is our other co-host and friend. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited for my Rachel birthday evening date tomorrow because we're going to go to our favorite massage therapist and
relax.
get some loving from them.
Yeah.
And relax.
Relax, proud prospective sponsor of...
Oh, yeah, we need to ask them.
Yeah. Well, can't we just sponsor
We'll
them?
bleep it out
without-
until they agree.
Yeah, we'll just promote them for now and be like, we already promoted you. You better give us some free massages.
And finally, we are joined by comedian Tricia D'Onofrio, who performs all over New England, and she is the host of a show called Tasty Chicks Comedy. Tricia, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Great. Thank you for asking. None of our guests ask me.
I could tell.
And so, growing up, what was your relationship with movies?
I love them. So my mom used to run errands every Saturday. So my dad was in charge, which meant we would just watch TV.
Oh, yeah.
And so we would always just watch movies. And then I remember falling asleep to many a movie.
Were there any that you watched over and over?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Matilda.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It made me want to have pigtail braids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just in case I need them.
Yeah.
You never know.
So you're a teacher, is that correct?
Yeah, so I am a teacher, and I wanted to become a teacher because of the movie Matilda.
Oh.
Inspired.
Yeah. Did Miss Honey appeal to you as a kid, or did you relate more to Matilda?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm more of a Trunchbull girl myself.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That was why you wanted to be a teacher.
I said, that sounds really good. Let's put kids in a closet. No, I really liked Miss Honey, and I liked how she was so warm and sweet and would work with kids who really needed her help.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to be that.
And what is your relationship like with chocolate cake?
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah.
High quality chocolate cake is my highest priority.
Yeah.
Do you like
So
blood, sweat, and
good.
tears baked into it?
Only blood.
Only blood.
Wait, so Tricia, going back to movies, how old were you when Matilda came out?
I don't remember the exact year. Do you guys remember? It's
feel like-
definitely
But
90.
do you remember how old you were when you watched it?
Oh, yeah. I think
it was
I was
94.
Like, okay, so
my
I was
guess.
born in 92.
Same.
Oh my gosh. What month?
January.
December.
Really?
Ooh, are you a Sagittarius?
Capricorn.
You know what's funny? I used to think that I was a unique individual, but turns out I'm just a Sagittarius, and I was disappointed. I read it and was like, how did they know? I thought I was special. Okay, so
you watched Matilda
going
from a
back,
really
going
young
back.
age.
Yes, from a very young age.
Okay.
That's why my mom was like, I don't know if we should be watching this. Because remember she's like a baby in the trunk?
Yeah.
And like they don't even bring her in,
They don't
forget
even
about her in
care.
the car.
Yeah.
But that was
Evil.
before people were scared about leaving their babies in the car.
True.
Right.
You know?
Also before people wore seatbelts, so.
That is so
Yeah.
true.
And remember how she's just sliding
she's
all
just
around?
sliding around.
Yeah.
Not a care in the world. My first car was like an old van and it was high up. Like if I got in an accident, I would have been fine. You know what I mean? And I know because I did hit my garage.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
But it was only out of stubbornness because my parents were like, yeah, we don't really want to take you driving. It's getting kind of dark. And I was like, my test is coming up and you guys haven't really practiced with me enough, which is true. So I took the keys and was like, I'm backing up. You guys need to come drive with me.
Oh.
I was like, let me lay down the law. And then I backed into the garage and it got stuck.
Oh. Were you in general kind of a rebellious kid as a teen?
Not really. I feel like I'm a good girl.
Yeah.
But if anything feels unfair, then I'm like, I need to fix this injustice.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like, if my brother had something and I didn't, because he was older than me.
Yeah.
And if there's any disparities based on gender, I was like, this is unjust.
Did you have any big battles that you remember?
Yes, of course. My dad would let my brother mow the lawn once every 2 weeks as his chore. And my sister and I had to do the dishwasher, unload it and load it every day.
Oh.
And I was like, this is shenanigans. Let me on that lawnmower. And he was like, no. And he still won't let me use the lawnmower. I know.
Terrible.
I know.
I don't think lawnmower is that. Well, how big was your yard? How long does it take to mow the lawn?
It's a big yard. I'd say medium length.
How long did it take your brother to mow the lawn?
Maybe an hour. It felt.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It felt very unfair. I was like, he does 1 hour every 2 weeks, and I had to do this shenanigans every day.
You guys were using your dishwasher every day?
Yeah,
Oh.
we have a family of 5.
Yeah, I guess that's.
We're active.
Yeah.
Lots of cups.
Yeah.
Constant use of cups.
Very hydrated.
So, what was their position on what movies they would let you watch?
If it was on Disney, it was cool.
Yeah.
But there's a whole block of movies that most people have seen that I have never seen.
Oh, like what?
Like Kill Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Like anything from that time period that was like rated R or
Right.
even remotely bad. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about because I've never seen it.
Was it just your parents just going by the ratings, or was it violence or sex or everything?
It was the ratings and violence and sex.
Yeah.
I think my mom was like, why do you need to see that?
Right.
You're 10, you know, like you don't need to see someone do that yet.
Do you remember when you first started getting to watch rated R movies?
Probably when I was like 17.
Oh, wow.
Like it was probably late.
Do you remember your first one?
I don't think I do.
Oh,
Do you guys remember your first one?
No, because
No.
I think I started pretty early.
Yeah.
But do you remember
Because
any?
they're such badasses.
Did any stand out to you? Did any like R-rated movies where you're like, oh, this
It.
it?
Okay, so
The old one or the new one?
The old one. So
Okay.
I used to get terrible nightmares. So I have a very active imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're like, picture me as like a little child,
Mm-hmm.
that means that every night I would have some type of crazy, vivid dream.
Oh.
And they're always really wild and outlandish. So I would always watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, yeah.
And my mom was like, you have to stop watching this. Like, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I watched it. And I was like afraid to go brush my teeth by myself. Like I was afraid to
How old
like,
were you?
I'm pretty sure I was like 12. Like I was
okay.
like
So
impressionable.
how'd you sneak that one in?
It was daytime TV. And it was upstairs in my parents' room.
Oh.
So everyone else was downstairs like watching something else.
So you watched it by yourself.
Wow.
In the daytime. I know. I know. And I watched it, I think it was Halloween Day. So I was like, I know, I was glutton for punishment. I was waiting for a nightmare.
How come you didn't watch, if you watched that one by yourself, like how come you didn't sneak other ones?
I think a lot of it didn't appeal to me. Like there's a lot that I'm like, I don't really need to see that. You know what I mean? Like I have no desire to see a lot of the movies that a lot of people talk about as like the best movies.
Yeah.
I'm just like, doesn't really, I don't like things with fighting.
Yeah.
I'm so bored by it.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you just sit down and talk? I don't know. Childish.
Yeah, I'm not into the fighting really either, because it feels to me like I know who's gonna win. Even if you trick me and make me think that that person's not gonna win, I know they're gonna win. So just can you skip this, because it's so stupid.
It just feels like Little Boy. Like the little boy and the director was like, okay, then they start kicking each other's butts. It's like, okay, all right, when are we getting back to the plot? You know, like it's not my jam.
So what kind of movies do you like now?
I love a good thriller.
Yeah. What are your favorite thrillers?
Okay, so I really liked Get Out.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was just like excellent and shocking.
Yeah.
I really like Black Swan. That's another one where it's like you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I can relate to it because I'm a big time perfectionist.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, that's what will happen if I ever descend into madness.
Yeah.
I was perfect. Yeah, I think those are my probably top two faves.
So do you have similar tastes in movies to your parents?
I don't think I do. My mom doesn't like anything sad or scary. She likes only romantic comedy, exclusively romantic comedy. To the point where if anything is on that is not a romantic comedy, she will protest and say, why do you have to watch this right now? And then my dad will watch anything with lots of violence, anything with lots of sex. Like I saw him watching Euphoria the other night and I was like, are you hipper than me? Like I haven't even started that show.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
I don't know that one. He's so
It's
hip.
like teenagers having sex and doing drugs.
Oh,
Cool.
That sounds like a good show.
So
Yeah.
I know. Maybe I'll start it tonight. Now I feel like I need to. Got to do my research. What the kids are doing these days.
That's right.
All right. So should we get into the movie?
Let's do it.
All right. So today we're discussing the 1993 movie Mrs. Doubtfire, starring Robin Williams, Sally Field, and Pierce Brosnan. And so this was a pick from our guest, Tricia. So what made you pick Mrs. Doubtfire?
Okay, so I love Robin Williams, R.I.P. And it just was like such a wholesome movie from my childhood. And I remember being really interested in the whole story and him trying to keep up the ruse.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also like, Sally, how did you not know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like... He does voices.
Right.
He does costumes.
But on the other hand, it's like, it's so outlandish that it would never occur to you.
That's what I'll give her.
And Zena, had you seen Mrs. Doubtfire before?
You know, I don't think I have.
Oh.
Or I had. I've maybe seen little snippets of it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was one of those movies that was always on TV, and I like knew, the gist of it.
Right.
But I don't think I've seen it, despite the fact that I'm a huge Robin Williams fan.
Yeah. Did you have any impressions going in? Did you watch the trailer or anything?
Watch the trailer and watch the scary version of the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Is that like on YouTube or something?
Yeah. Somebody
on
recut it.
YouTube, yeah.
Is that like
To make it
if
look
he
like a
was
thriller.
a bad guy? Oh.
Yeah.
It's
It's basically the same movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just from his perspective that what he's doing is bad.
Well, I don't know. It's a big question of morality.
Yeah.
Do you think what he's doing is good
Oh,
or bad?
We'll get into that.
Oh, okay.
And Rachel, what did you remember?
I remembered a decent amount from this movie. I feel like we watched it a lot as kids.
Yeah.
The big thing was the whole time. That's the big thing that I remembered.
Yeah. Like anytime that phrase came up in our family, somebody would, usually our mom would start doing like the whole time.
Yes. Yeah, so that was a common
Yeah.
phrase all the time in
Yeah.
our family. You can't just say the whole time
Right.
and not expect that somebody's going to say the whole time a few more times.
Right.
So there's that. I also remembered the when he puts the cake on his face.
Oh,
the
yeah.
cake the cake icing.
Yes.
And help is on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the standouts.
Yeah. I remember the dinner finale. Like
Yeah.
that stuck in my head. And then I remember the youngest daughter, Mara Wilson, saying, "We're his goddamn kids too." And thinking that was so funny when I saw it as a kid. And so, let's get to the reveal. So Tricia, do you think it held up?
I'm going to vote yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like if somebody tried to do it again, people would know. They'd be like, oh, you're just pretending. You know, like if someone was like trying to trick their wife because of this movie, the wife would say, "Is that you, Richard?" It seems like it's you. Are you wearing a mask on your face and a wig
The whole bodysuit?
and pretend, I know, and like have Spanx on?
Yeah.
I think it holds up though.
Yeah.
Because it's like a wholesome thing that he loves his kid so much
Yeah.
that he will lie to his wife.
Right. And his kids.
I mean, he has to, but
Yeah.
he's lying for good.
Right. It's a white lie.
It's a pure lie.
Yeah. And Zena, what about you? Did you enjoy watching it today?
Yeah, I so agree. Like Robin Williams, like his love for his kids in that movie is
Yeah.
just so genuine.
Yeah.
Like he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rachel, what about you?
I was very nervous that it wasn't going to hold
Yeah.
up, just given how gender plays a big role in the movie. And I felt like it really did. I was
okay.
worried that some of the jokes were going to feel kind of cringy, but
Yeah.
no, I felt like
Yeah.
they actually did it really, really
They're
well.
even better.
Even better. Yeah, I guess like the only part that feels kind of like they maybe wouldn't do it the same way
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to
today.
say. Where he's calling with the fake voice. Wait.
Oh, well, there's that one too.
Oh, you got another one.
The other one is just when the kids find out.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
they're so like, "Oh my god, he's a he she, he's a
Right.
she." And
Right.
they're like, "Call the police. We need to kill this person who's posing as a different gender than
Right.
than they are,
Right.
born with."
Right. I was watching with Allegra and she was like, yeah, that's why you have to teach your kids not to be transphobic, because if you ever
Yes.
want to come back disguised as a different gender, you want to make sure they don't hit you with
They
a
don't
tennis
kill
racket.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It's one of my favorite movies that we've rewatched. It's very close to Multiplicity in my heart.
Yeah.
It held up so well. I forgot how amazing Robin Williams is. Like and you don't see that kind of acting in a broad comedy, because it's the premise is so insane. Like
Right.
it's so ridiculous. Like it's like the joke premise of a different movie. Like
Yes,
like if they're
yes.
talking about like a bad movie, he's like, oh, and then I dress up as like an elderly woman to trick my wife and kids.
Right.
Like it's so crazy, and then there's still so much heart. Like the way Robin Williams acts, like it's so sincere and it's so vulnerable, and like I loved it. And just I had forgotten also how good Sally Field was. Just like in those lines, like
Classic.
we would always do that line like the whole time, but like her doing that is really hard. It's just like she's just shifting through so many emotions, and it's not like, it's funny, but it's not over the top.
Right.
So, I had a great time rewatching this. So starting off, we see Robin Williams is a voice actor in the movie, and he's doing voiceover for this cartoon. I thought that was funny because, like, in the world of the movie, like, isn't Robin Williams still like an amazing talent? They're acting like, oh, we can replace you with five other voice actors.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole movie is really it's really kind of just built around how incredibly, amazingly talented
Right.
Robin Williams
Right.
is. And just showcasing all of his incredible talent.
Right. I was reading the IMDb trivia. There were like 50 of them were saying who else was considered for the role. And it was like,
else?
Tim Allen was considered for the role. I'm like,
Ugh.
how would that work at
God.
all? Another one was like Chris Farley was considered for the role of Daniel. I was like,
What?
I think Tim
What?
Allen was in jail in 1994 for cocaine possession.
Probably.
Actually. So they said considered. Well, never.
No.
Never mind. We'll find someone else.
And then, yeah, he gets fired and he goes to pick his kids up from school, and you immediately see how good he is with his kids. I forgot how adorable Mara Wilson is. Mara Wilson
So
is
sweet.
Natty, the smallest one.
So sweet.
Gosh.
And they have such good, like, I think with all the kids, kind of, he has really good on-screen chemistry, like parent chemistry. Her especially, though, because she just seems so happy to be around him all the time.
I love when he's doing the like hissing with her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know, they're really sweet together.
Yeah.
She's just like such a talented little actress, even when she's like 4.
Yeah, this was her first movie.
Knows what to do.
Yeah.
Cute. With her little lisp, too.
I know.
Yeah. And so the other thing, I remember that they had a party, that he threw a party for his son.
Yes, the
I forgot how
party.
insane it was.
Oh my God. Yeah. How can you just have
Like barn animals are walking through your house.
What did you even hire? What service did you hire
It's
to
like a
get?
service that like drops off animals and then
And
walks
they wander
away.
the streets.
I know, the cop was like, is this your goat? Just like, he's like, I was gonna get this cleaned up before you got home.
Right.
How?
Right.
Do you have a shovel? Like, what were you gonna do?
So yeah, Sally Field comes home, and then that's the last straw with her, which I thought was also kind of weird because it's like, what was their relationship before? Like, this can't have been the first thing he's ever done.
Yeah,
and like,
well, it wasn't.
but she seems so surprised.
Well, I'd be surprised.
But it's like,
It's shocking. It certainly
It's
is
shocking.
a shock.
it's shocking.
Did
but
you
like,
see the donkey eating the cake? Come on. But
I know, it was a
I
good
think
cake too.
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what
yeah, what was their
brought them
relationship
together?
before? Oh yeah, yeah.
In the first place, what was their relationship like when they first got together? Because they seem like such a bad match.
Right.
Like, she's so serious and
Right.
he's
Yeah.
so over the top funny, goofing around all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't ever picture any way that they would be together.
Right. Yeah, throughout the movie, he's pretty convinced they're going to get back together.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Poor
so
sweet guy.
sad. And then that like Pierce Brosnan comes in.
Oh,
like, hey.
I totally forgot about. Like, I remembered he was in it. I forgot how handsome he is. He's like astonishingly handsome.
Oh yeah, and he's
Yeah.
old too.
Yeah, he said
like
he's pushing 40 in the
He's
movie.
an old hot.
But I thought he was like mid
Old
20s.
hot.
He's like, it's like chaotic good. It's like
Yeah.
he's an old hot.
Uh-huh.
And something I didn't remember at all, I don't think I ever understood this watching as a kid, that they were exes, that they had dated before.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I never knew that. I never understood that.
I think I might have known that. He plays the character well because you can see how he's so charming and you hate him.
No, I feel like I
loved
liked
him?
him. I was like, he was the good guy in the movie.
No.
Yes.
No, terrible.
He's a swiper.
He's a swiper.
Coming in to swipe the
No,
kids.
that marriage was done.
Swipe the wife.
He's like a really good father. He loves the kids. Yeah, like
I'm biased towards Robin though.
yeah.
I mean,
of
I
course
guess
he loved Robin Williams.
I do like that they didn't push that too much.
But jumping back to so Robin Williams in the divorce, he doesn't get custody and he's assigned a social worker, and so he has to go see the social worker. And she's asking if he has special skills, and he says, I do voices. And then it's just a bunch of scenes of Robin Williams just doing different voices and characters. And it was really funny, but it's also funny, like, imagining what was going on, because they're only showing his face, and it's just like,
Oh yeah, the social worker's just sitting there.
they never show her face until the very end. But like, you imagine this is going on for like 5 minutes and the social worker's not reacting at all. And there's a lot of scenes in the movie where they're just like, this makes no sense, but Robin Williams is so talented that we can't not do this.
Right. We just got to show all this stuff.
Right. And so
That's true.
so this same kind of thing happens. So Sally Field says that she's hiring a nanny, and then Robin Williams gets this idea of calling under different voices and pretending to be terrible candidates. And then he finally calls us Mrs. Doubtfire, who's like a charming, nice Scottish woman. But once he like gets hired as Mrs. Doubtfire, he goes to his brother and says that he needs to get made up to look like this old woman. And this is another scene where they're like, it makes no sense because they're trying.
I love this scene.
This is the montage.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I love this scene for so many reasons. I mean, it's got the makeovers. They do several different makeovers purely for fun.
Right.
And you get to see all the stuff, all the cool costume stuff that's like, I mean, looks like pretty legit.
Yeah.
And you get to see when he does the plaster mask. Oh, that's so cool. Like there's just like an arts and crafts part of it that really appeals to me. And this little song and dance and the characters. Oh.
And so then, like they finally settle on Mrs. Doubtfire. They're like, oh, we'll do the one that matches the voice that you came up with instead of doing Barbra Streisand and an old Hispanic woman. And she meets all the kids and nobody notices. Nobody recognizes that.
Yeah, and it really, I think when I was a kid, I was like, very convincing.
It is very convincing.
This is very
wouldn't
good.
think that it was.
I mean, it is very
Robin Williams.
convincing.
It's so convincing.
But the voice, though.
No, it is a really different voice. But presumably they've heard him do
They've heard him
voice.
do so many voices.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I think if I were them, I would know.
I think the giveaway is not the looks or the voice. The giveaway is that they make the exact same jokes.
Oh.
Like, Mrs. Doubtfire makes like very distinctively Robin Williams style jokes all the time.
Yeah. I think it's the voice.
Remember all the little sex jokes that she makes
constantly.
at Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Constantly implying that his penis is small.
She refers to rumple foreskin.
Yes.
Can do a little rumple foreskin.
I know she literally does like 15 one-liners in a row.
Yeah.
Like, bum, 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 bum. And he's just like, Mrs. Doubtfire, please stop.
He's very patient with Mrs.
know,
Doubtfire, and
he
she's
really
constantly
is.
very rude to him.
Yeah, he never brings up to Sally Field like, hey, have you ever noticed that Mrs. Doubtfire is like really mean to me?
And she talks about my penis
She talks always about my penis and she puts me down all the time.
But yeah, I like she brings Mrs. Doubtfire to the kitchen, and Miss Doubtfire like knows where everything is. She's like,
don't worry, I have a gift. I noticed that I'm actually pretty good at figuring out which drawer is the silverware drawer in people's homes.
can you do it in my kitchen? So we're recording in my kitchen. Can you point to my silverware drawer?
I probably can.
Okay, let's do it.
The one next to the dishwasher.
Yes, that's right. That's a good silverware
Nice
eye.
job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I was like,
you should
wow,
fight crime.
I was like, wow, I gotta put my money where my mouth is. I thought I wouldn't be asked to do it because we were sitting, but I forgot I could point. I'm glad I got it right.
But then right after that, we see the social worker come and inspect Robin Williams' apartment. It's such a great scene where like Robin Williams is forced to switch back and forth.
Yeah, it's so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a lot of parts where like there's no need.
Right. He could have gotten out of it.
Like,
but
you don't
like,
need to say like, oh, my sister makes amazing tea. I'm going to go get her. She's going to make you tea now. There is no need. You could just say, but she taught me how to do it.
But she's sleeping now.
She's sleeping now.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you tea.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
Yeah, I love that scene where he's like, the suspense is so great, and then he's in the fridge where he's like has his face in the fridge, and she walks into the room, and so he has no choice but to mash his face into a cake.
And why do you think he just has a full cake in his fridge?
That's because when you get divorced, you want to bake an entire cake and eat one slice of it.
Do you usually keep a cake in your fridge? Because I don't.
No.
It's on the counter, baby.
Yeah.
I pop your face into the counter.
But I just love that he's like frantically making her tea, and then when she finally comes in, parts of his face are melting off.
It's his
Like
meringue night mask.
Meringue
Night mask, yeah.
And it's like dripping into the tea. The woman's like,
Yeah.
but she still drinks it. Like,
Right. And I
like
like
huge
when
plops are coming
she
out.
takes a little bit and she tries it herself on her, like, right under her eye
Yeah.
there.
I bet you it works.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Do you guys have frosting? Should we?
We should
Try it.
So I read that was improvised. It wasn't supposed to melt off, but the heat from the lighting
my
caused it to
God,
melt, and
that's
so he just
so
improvised
good.
all those lines.
that's so good.
I feel like half the movie was improvised.
Yeah.
But that's how it always is with
Yeah.
Robin Williams. Is
Yeah.
they're like, here's the outline.
Right.
Do whatever you think. You know,
Right.
like he's gonna
Just be Robin Williams, okay?
be yourself.
Right.
I know I say that to everyone, but I don't mean it for them. I only mean it for you.
And then, now Mrs. Doubtfire gets the job, and they're disobeying her. She's saying, like, you have to go do your homework. And they're like, no, we're just going to watch TV. Like, you can tell it's this critical moment where if Mrs. Doubtfire can't win that one, then she's just lost the kids, and she manages to win them over. But do you guys remember from your childhood, like showdowns with your parents or with nannies or teachers or anything? And then, like, looking back, they probably had the same feeling where it's like they're not really holding cards. They're sort of bluffing, because if you just say, like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I remember our dad would always be like, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen, but you're not going to like it. And I was like,
that's the best thing of all.
I don't want that. That could be anything.
That's the best thing of all.
You know, yeah, now that you mention that, Dad used to say, do you want to do this the easy way or the hard way?
That was a favorite.
And I didn't realize until like 2 years ago that he didn't have the hard way. Like, he brought it up sometime recently and he was like, oh yeah, I never had a backup plan. And I thought about it. I was like, we never did it the hard way? Like, I thought for sure that we did a couple times. Like, and I really didn't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that about like getting my hair brushed. I hated.
And Dad was brushing your hair a lot?
That's why you have short hair.
Was he really?
Well, he was, I don't know how many times he was brushing my hair, but I think Mom and Dad took turns brushing my hair. And it was, you know, kids' hair, it gets really tangled. And I really hated having my hair brushed.
I
And
loved having my hair
That's
brushed.
why you have it short, so you don't have to deal with the shenanigans.
Yeah, kind of.
Because our mom and dad will come and brush Rachel's hair.
They
And she
say,
keeps it long.
we're going to do it the easy way or the hard way, which is going to be.
Which the easy way is just cut your hair short, so you don't have
that's
as many
true.
tangles.
Yeah, but in my mind, like, I always think of that and think like the hard way was that like I have an image of what it was. It was like that he would be like really like pulling my hair, like really roughly brushing my hair, and I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
No.
No, that's the worst. Yeah, my mom used to brush my hair, but I remember I'd get mad because she would kind of brush on top of my ears.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you're brushing my ear. Why are you brushing my ear? And I didn't like it. And I'd tell her, don't brush my ear. And then she would keep brushing my ear. And I was like, I will not stand for this.
But did you have any showdowns? Like, well, you mentioned with the car.
I mean, I was a stubborn kid.
Yeah.
But mostly I was a good girl. Like, I didn't feel the need to really rebel. But when you're a middle child, you get a lot of freedom.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
You raise yourself. No, I'm kidding. They raised me, but but they knew what they were working with. So like if there was an issue that they really felt like this is not okay, they would definitely say, Tricia, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And then if I felt very passionately, then we'd have to have a discussion. Yeah, so I don't know. I had a really wholesome childhood, I feel, but there's like a big like justice part of me that's like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, like if something doesn't feel fair, then I'm like, we need to discuss this.
Right.
Hold the phones. He gets to stay up a half hour later. This is not acceptable. Like my parents couldn't even stagger our bedtimes, because that was going to be like World War III.
Yeah.
So what I would do is we'd all go to bed, and it would take me a long time to fall asleep because of that imagination of mine.
Yeah.
So I'd wait till I thought my brother was asleep, and then I would sneak over to the door, and he slept with his door open, and so did I. And my sister was there too, but she fell asleep right away. So it's like, she's not even in the game. And then I would army crawl on the ground till I got to the top of the stairs. And I would do my best to sneak down those. If I made it down to the stairs, then I would say to my parents, I can't sleep. And then I'd lay on my mom with one eye open, and I'd get to watch TV. Okay?
Wait, why did you have to sneak downstairs?
Because I wanted to watch TV. I
But
didn't want
if
to
you
go
were
to
going to
bed.
announce it anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't announce it. No. This is all under the cover of night.
Didn't you say I would say to my mom I couldn't sleep? Or
I would
is
get
that in your head?
No, I would get downstairs and say, I can't sleep. Only if I made it all the way down the stairs. If I didn't,
Right, but if
my brother
you're
would
gonna
rat on me.
But if you announced to your parents when you get down to the stairs anyway, why did you have to sneak?
I had to sneak because my brother would tattle.
But he's just going to tell the
No, he
the
would
thing they're going to
say-
discover anyway. It's like if they caught you in the middle of doing it, that was bad, but not at the end of it.
He would say, Trisha's out of bed. And then my parents would be like, Trisha, go back to bed. So, like, if he ratted on me, I was done for the night. I had to actually go to bed.
Okay, gotcha.
This happened every couple of nights.
So you were hiding from your brother, not so much your parents.
Yes. Okay. I didn't want him to rat on me.
Right.
You know what they say? Stitches get...
Snitches.
Arrested. And put into witness protection programs.
Yeah. So speaking of Mrs. Doubtfire, we actually haven't even gotten to the Pierce Brosnan meeting. So Mrs. Doubtfire meets Pierce Brosnan, and she's immediately very rude to Pierce Brosnan, and says that she's never heard of him. And then that's
the best way to belittle someone.
So good.
I've never heard about you.
Yeah.
Who are you?
So Sally Field immediately starts asking Mrs. Doubtfire for sex advice. But the thing I like about that is Sally Field just like is always shocked at how chaste Mrs. Doubtfire wants her to be, but regardless, never stops asking for her advice. She is like constantly asking her for sex advice, and then Mrs. Doubtfire is always like, "No, you should never have sex ever. You don't want to be a harlot." And Sally Field's like, okay.
I know. I think Sally Fields has no friends.
Yeah.
And so as soon as anyone shows a modicum of kindness.
Right.
Yes.
Modicum. Why did I say modicum?
A crumb or a
Well, it's a
modicum.
crumb
Like
and
that,
a modicum. Yeah.
She, as soon as someone shows her the tiniest ounce of a grin, she is like, sex. Tell me about it. Should I be doing it? Should I fuck this guy immediately to grieve?
What dress should I wear if I want sex?
Which one means sex? Yellow?
Kids? What do you think?
Kids.
Yeah,
I
and
need
that's
you.
it. Like the kids are kind of selling out their dad because at that point they know that it's actually Robin Williams, and they're like they should understand what he's doing.
Sure, it's the teenage daughter and
Mara Wilson, and Natty Light.
Natty Light.
But yeah, so right after he meets Pierce Brosnan, Chris, the son, sees him, Mrs. Doubtfire, peeing standing up, and is like, "Oh my God, it's a man!" and like freaks out, and they call the cops, and then
they don't call.
They're about to call the cops, and he reveals that he's actually Robin Williams. But like, imagine if you're the kids.
He reveals that he's actually Robin Williams.
Hey guys, I know you thought I was just your regular old lame dad, but
I'm famous comedian Robin Williams.
But imagine if you're the kid and like this woman you've been spending all your time with is actually your dad. Like,
yeah.
Imagine our dad like showed up.
How do you know she's not just an empowered lady who wants to pee standing up?
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, I don't have all this time to remove all my garter and my garments. I want to get a tube.
Yeah. So then he like confesses, and it's me, your dad. So let's be cool. And they
Let's be cool, kids. Listen, have I been lying to you? Yes. Have I been lying to your mother? Of course I have.
It's the only way I could get close to you guys. And they're like, oh, okay, we understand.
Nobody really is that upset though.
Yeah.
No.
You're like, yeah, that made sense. That was the thing I thought was funny. Like, what does his brother think? The brother that made him the costume. Was he like, listen, bro,
He's down.
I've got to dress as a woman to
He's
trick
so
my
down.
family.
Yeah, he was really down. I think he just likes the theater of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
that's
thinks
true.
it's for like a role, for like a
Right.
show
Does
or an
he?
audition.
Yeah.
Does he think
Oh,
that?
no. I thought he knew.
He
that it
knows
was-
the
they were-
whole.
I think so. Why would his...
I don't know if
I
he.
guess he could
I
trick
don't know
his
if he
brother.
Yeah, it's not
explicitly-
clear.
He
They
didn't
don't
explicitly say, "Listen, I have this
Yeah.
plot to overthrow Pierce Brosnan," but like I don't know, like his brother, that's his job. So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty normal to be like, "Hey, can you just make me look like a woman for this role?"
Right.
Like,
Right.
he doesn't have to disclose the whole shebang. If he
Right.
doesn't want to.
True.
Right.
But maybe he did.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
I think his brother has an open mind though.
Oh yeah, and
sure.
and I
He
think
seems
like
very
when he
chill.
first comes and says, "Can you make me a woman?" The brother seems to assume that he just means like he's transitioning,
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, thank God!"
I'm
he
so
says,
happy.
He says like, "Yeah,
Honey, I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what he says. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, good for you." Like
Yeah.
he's
Right.
like happy for him.
yeah."
But I think being open-minded about gender is not the same as being open-minded about tricking your family.
No, it's probably no, it's not.
Yeah. So then we finally get to the finale at dinner. So Daniel has been working his way up a TV studio, and he finally has this pitch dinner with the head of the studio. And it just so happens to be at the same time and place as Sally Field's birthday dinner with Pierce Brosnan and the kids. And she shows up as Mrs. Doubtfire and has to switch back and forth. And Xena has some feelings.
Xena does not approve.
I was just so infuriated.
Why?
That Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire just doesn't go, and Robin Williams goes to his job interview.
Right.
Why didn't Mrs. Doubtfire make an excuse not to go?
Actually, I have plans.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, I can't.
I was just so...
I have food poisoning.
Right.
Something.
Yeah.
It just agitated me so much.
But it's such a iconic scene. It's parodied in a bunch of stuff, and it's it was actually so much more stressful than I remembered to watch it.
Yeah.
But it's also so fun. You're how is he gonna do this? What's gonna happen now?
And finally, Mrs. Doubtfire accidentally sits down with the man.
With Mr. Lundy.
Yeah.
Wait, but going back, so there's so much to unpack with that dinner scene. So
wait, can I just say before we really get into it?
Yeah.
I've at least spoken to you, Michael, about my experience of watching The Sixth Sense with Xena and how amazing that was, because she had never seen it and never heard anything about how it ends.
I don't think I've seen it either, but I know the end.
You know the
twist. Because of culture.
Because
Right.
of culture.
Yeah, see, I didn't know.
Xena avoided culture
I
for this
avoided
movie.
culture for my entire life, so.
So it was a
They just say
similar
it a lot.
situation
Oh,
with this.
I'm so jealous now that you got
I
to watch
know
it.
it was
Xena.
amazing, and usually Xena and I are very strict about we don't talk during.
Was
the
there
movie.
talking during this movie?
Okay, listen, buddy.
We've got rules.
So it was so great watching it with her, because I feel like this movie, I've seen it so many times, and this scene is so iconic that I just feel like I never really saw it for the first time. I was just born having seen the scene, having known exactly what happens in the scene. Right. And Xena was just getting so stressed about oh my God. So that was a really wonderful experience.
I actually did kind of have that. I was watching with Allegra, who has seen this movie before. And then they get to Sally Field invites Mrs. Doubtfire to dinner, and Allegra's like, oh no. And I was like, wait, do you not know what's gonna happen next? And she's like, no. I'm like, how do you not? You've seen it and you don't remember this scene?
This
is
the scene.
This is the scene.
This is the whole shebang.
It's everything.
So
all the
I remembered
marbles.
almost every beat of it, but there was so much that I didn't understand growing up. I totally didn't understand that he was getting drunk.
Yes.
I never got that.
Oh yeah, he shows up. He gets
wasted.
really drunk.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Doubtfire, who's supposed to be prim and proper and no sex, is like, oh.
Falls out of her chair.
I know.
But then the other thing I totally missed as a kid is all the sex jokes he's making to Pierce Brosnan, because Pierce Brosnan buys her the expensive bracelet. And he's like, oh, a bit of a going down payment. And it's just 20 jokes in a row that are all these crazy sex jokes. And he's saying how Pierce Brosnan has so much competition in the bedroom. And,
with her vibrator.
Yeah, he's like, when she turns it on, the lights dim in the house. And
He's
that
I'm
totally...
shocked she hasn't ground her teeth off. He's like,
It's like
I
it's a
didn't
jackhammer.
get that part.
Yeah.
I missed that completely.
He says...
I never got that as a kid.
So first he says she is some... you have a lot of competition. At first I thought he was going to say her ex-husband.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Daniel.
Yeah.
But then he starts talking about this vibrator and he calls it... He says you can crack a sidewalk with it. And then he says, I'm surprised she hasn't broken her teeth because she just grinds them. It's insane.
Oh,
what
that's what he meant. I thought she was saying that she put the vibrator in her mouth.
No.
Ew,
Why?
Sick fuck.
Yours makes more sense. And then, so speaking of gross, I totally forgot about the boss saying gross stuff. Robin Williams has to make excuses for why he's wearing lipstick and perfume.
Right.
Old lady perfume.
Right.
And the boss is like, why are you wearing lip? And he's like, oh, I ran into an ex-girlfriend. She's a waitress here. And he's like, oh, you should see if your girlfriend has a girlfriend for me. We'll go into the stretch limo. It's like, ew, what?
Yeah,
Right.
that's so
You're going to go
raunchy.
with your
Yeah, that's a
employee
little
to
gross.
like have sex with like an orgy or something? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, they're gonna go have sex with an orgy.
You're going to have sex with an orgy? Don't do
With
that.
the orgy. Not in it, but with it. We'll be parallel orgy. Parallel is saying.
But yeah, you see it like come apart, and Daniel accidentally sits down as Mrs. Doubtfire with Mr. Lundy, and he's like, why are you dressed as this old woman? And then he's like, oh, because she's going to be the host of the show. That works out.
That's pretty
Yeah.
quick thinking.
Yeah.
That was good.
But
And
then
the end,
he had
so
poisoned Pierce
sweet.
Brosnan. This is like,
Yeah.
Daniel's not the good guy. He was like, could have killed Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
He pours pepper on his
All
A
this
jambalaya.
lot of pepper,
A lot
too.
of pepper.
The whole pepper jar.
And Pierce Brosnan starts choking. None of the waiters in this restaurant know the Heimlich
Everyone's
maneuver.
just like frozen.
Yeah. And they're like, Mrs. Doubtfire, help us.
Please, you're the only one.
And then there's that line, help is on the way. And she runs over and gives him the Heimlich. But in so doing, the mask falls off. And
Yeah.
everybody realizes that it's Daniel.
Yeah.
And then Sally Field delivers
What
the line
a-
of her career.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Can you just imagine? Can you just imagine being Sally Field in that
Yeah.
moment? All of the emotions that you have going through you.
She's
You've had-
such a
Oh my
serious
God.
woman.
You had all these conversations with Mrs. Doubtfire about
And just
your
all
ex-husband.
this stuff sinking in, like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what makes the whole time so good.
Yeah.
Is because you can really see she's
Right.
going through that she's
Right.
like, oh, what the
Right.
fuck? Like, really, wait, the whole time. Wait, oh my God, the whole time. Oh my God, the whole time. Yeah, just
And
like,
she's like, I have to go. We have to go now. And she just delivers that line so well too.
That means that she was hoping that there was another Mrs. Doubtfire that Daniel killed and has been impersonating. She's like, this was someone else, right? The whole time, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
That means she's hoping that the real Mrs. Doubtfire is in a closet tied up.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, you told her all your secrets, not me.
But I remember, so Sally Field comes back and talks to Daniel and says she's like willing to move past all the crazy stuff he did, which I thought was like very big of Sally Field. And Robin Williams is not that cooperative. He's like, oh, you like sat there when the judge is saying all that stuff to me. He's like, slow down, Robin Williams. You like
Just hear
did a
what
lot
she's
of
gotta
crazy
say.
stuff.
Like, hold on.
And so it's clear they've like come to some sort of agreement, and then the doorbell rings and you're like, oh, who's going to be at the door? And I remember as a kid, and even still a little bit now, even knowing this isn't what was going to happen, I thought the door was going to open and it was Mrs. Doubtfire. And the agreement was he can nanny them if he does it as Mrs. Doubtfire.
You only can come in the house in costume.
And like we like actually skipped that part where like they're all kind of wistfully remembering like, oh, it was so nice when Mrs. Doubtfire was here.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of like, this is crazy. Like they know she's not real. And then all of a sudden Sally Field is like, she's not real. Like we have to stop referring to her as if she's a real person. And you're like, okay, good. Glad somebody said something. Yeah. And then we end and like Daniel gets to see his kids and he's the host of a hit public access show and it seems to all be working out. I think it's time for the Whoop ratings.
Ooh, what are these?
So the Whoop ratings are after the movie ends, how many times you would say whoop. So it's not out of anything. It's just whatever your heart tells you, how you feel about the movie. Okay. So for reference, the movie Multiplicity has 49 million whoops.
Wait, I didn't see it. So can you do Air Bud? What does
Air
Air
Bud,
Bud
we've never
get?
reviewed Air Bud.
Guys, you're missing out.
dropped
Air
it.
Bud is where it's at. Some kids got cut, so Air Bud could succeed.
Yeah. So it's whatever you feel. And so Xena, you traditionally start us off with the whoops. So how many whoops do you give this?
Let's see. I'm gonna give them Robin Williams 5 million whoops.
Ooh.
The movie gets 5.
Okay.
Ooh. I like the disparity between the two.
Yeah. And Rachel, what about you?
42 million whoops.
42 million whoops, respectable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular reasons?
Oh, I liked it. I laughed when I watched it.
Yeah.
I felt my feelings. I felt sad feelings. I felt happy feelings.
Yeah.
Really loved how sincerely Robin Williams plays the character and can really jump between the sort of extremes of emotion that are involved.
I would give it 9 whoops. I usually do it out of 10. This was one of my favorite movies to rewatch. I loved seeing Robin Williams, loved the script, loved the whole family. Mara Wilson's so cute as in her film debut. Pierce Brosnan, great. He deserved to end up with the family, and loved it. And Tricia, what about you?
I can't believe you stan Pierce, but okay. Regardless, I'm going to give it a cool 50 whoops.
50 whoops. Nice.
Out of 51.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
Any
it's a
particular
high
reasons?
level whoop
Yeah.
on the
Sure
whoop,
is.
What were
on the
some of
whoop scale.
your favorite things about it?
Favorite things. I like the part where he has the boobs and then he puts the pot.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
when he catches on fire. Yeah.
Like, that's good.
First day as a woman, I'm already getting hot flashes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I like all of his little quips.
Yeah.
And I really love Sally Field. I think
Yeah.
she dresses supremely.
Yeah.
Her acting is killer.
Right.
Whenever I see her, I think of her in all of her other roles. And I'm
Yeah.
like, she's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It was heartfelt and sweet and silly in all the right spots.
Yeah. Excellent. And do we have time for the mom game? Are you good to stay?
I'm so down for the mom game.
Okay. So the mom game is I've prompted my mom with a few different titles of movies, and she has to describe her memory of what that movie is. So
great.
the thing to keep in mind is, not everybody has a perfect memory, and our mom is no exception. So sometimes the things she says about the movies aren't necessarily what happens in the movie. So you have to keep that in mind.
About her feeling about what happened.
Yeah.
In
Her
the movie.
feelings are honest about what happens in the movie. So let's see if I can get this set up.
Okay. Are we going to hear your mom's voice?
Yeah, you're going to hear our mom's voice. If this works right. Okay. This is the first one.
All I remember about this movie is that they're watching this
wait,
plastic
hold on.
bag fly.
Hold on. I already know it, but
Oh, I forgot to
Same.
explain the rules. You
Yeah.
just shout it out as soon as you know it.
Okay.
Rachel, because she has a huge advantage, she's only allowed to make one guess.
Ooh.
But everybody else can just shout out as many guesses as they want.
Okay.
And so
Okay,
it's the
we-
first person to get it.
can we go?
Yeah.
American Beauty.
Yeah, it's American Beauty.
Up in the air, and it keeps going up and down. Up and down.
That was indeed American Beauty. Okay. Here's the next one.
So it's with Reese Witherspoon. This is a
Legally
movie
Blonde.
about high schoolers
Election.
who I think it's just when like cell phones are coming popular, and
You
they're
sure it's
very
not
hip
Election?
and
Tracy
they
Flick?
dress really stylishly. I think one of them gets married at the end, but I can't remember who.
What else is Reese Witherspoon?
I think I
in?
know now.
Oh, Sweet Home Alabama?
Anybody have any other guesses?
It's Clueless.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh. Dang. I was like, it can't be really Reese. She doesn't want to do any high school. It
Yeah,
seems- it's
that's how you play the
similar-
mom game.
It's similar enough. Okay, now that I know it can be a totally different actress,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
my head's in the game,
Yeah.
guys.
All right. You ready for the next one?
Oh, yeah.
It's an animated movie about
Ants, Bug's
a
Life.
story
Winnie
about
the Pooh.
a attractive young woman who falls in love with a sort of a monsterish
Beauty and the Beast?
kind of person
Who said that?
That's Xena.
Ooh, Xena, yeah.
Nice.
Let's listen to the rest.
being.
I know my
Monstrous
Disney.
and-
There's a dancing candlestick and
Oh. Your mom gives
Teacup,
good
I
hints,
think.
actually.
All right. So we got Rachel with 2 and Xena with 1.
I am losing.
All right. Ready for this?
Taking up the lead. No, taking up the rear.
All right. Here's the next one.
Is it a James Cameron movie? It's a really cool movie, and
Avatar.
you basically wear 3
Who's that? That was you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Avatar. Mom likes Avatar way more than I thought.
She
Wait,
loves Avatar.
I never knew that.
to watch it, but
She's a
it's
hardcore
got
Avatar
really
woman.
innovative visual effects with
I bet you, she
supernatural
identifies with
beings.
the red-haired lady.
and
yeah.
What's
Oh,
her
maybe.
name?
don't
Sigourney
know
Weaver?
what else.
Yes.
Oh.
Your mom sounds like she identifies with Sigourney.
I think she does like Sigourney Weaver.
She does.
Who
yeah.
doesn't love Sigourney?
Okay, so that's 3 for Rachel, 1 for Xena. Trisha's gotta catch up.
I know.
All right.
Guys, remember, I have a whole block of all these movies that I never even seen.
Oh, that's true.
So
That's true.
Okay.
I'll do
But
my
that's the
best.
same is true of Xena.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you guys should be...
It's an even block.
All right, here's the next one.
With Bill Murray again, and I think it takes place
Lost
in
in
Japan.
translation.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's about all I know about it.
Nice.
That's about all I know.
I saw the movie, I can't remember.
You remember who the woman is?
Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah. That was me on the tape.
Oh, okay. I was like, his mouth didn't move, but I'm still going to answer.
Yeah, I can just record all of my parts of the podcast ahead of time. Okay, so 3-1-1.
So this movie is with Chevy Chase.
Vacation.
Groundhog Day.
Vacation. That was... How did you get Vacation? Oh, I guess it's like the
'Cause I
only
know.
one she knows. So the explanation wasn't that funny, but I included it because I wanted to just play this outtake from us doing that one.
Vacation is
Don't say the
with
title.
Vacation is with... Your
She
mom's so sweet.
She got so flustered that she hit the microphone. Okay. So that's 4-1-1. Okay, here's the next one.
This is a favorite of Michael's, and it's
Most
with
publicity.
Ben Stiller. I can't. And I know that they wear like these sweatsuits with a sweatband on.
Oh,
their
Royal
head,
Tenenbaums.
and they're
Yeah.
well.
Wow. Yeah.
The sweatband was the giveaway.
Yeah. So 4-2-1.
Sweatsuit. At first I was like, what sweatsuit?
Trisha still can win it. Okay.
It's a scary movie with Jack Nicholson. I'll
The
give you
Shining.
one hint.
Yeah.
Red Rum.
4
I'll
to
give you
3
one
to
hint. Red rum. I'm going to do a mom impression before I leave here. I'll give you one hint. Oh!
All right. So this is still anyone's game. 4-3-1. Well, anyone except for Xena.
Listen, Xena, you're inspirational.
Well, you
Gonna
can
be
come
okay.
back to tie for 2. Okay. Here's the next one.
The bad guy in the story does something really bad. I think he kills somebody, and somehow
Literally any movie.
the main female character finds out and kills her boyfriend.
Kill Bill?
And I guess she doesn't know. That's right. She doesn't know. And
I know what you did
but
last summer.
her boyfriend is now a ghost and tries to
Ghost.
get the
Yes.
message to her that he's the one. The guy, that guy's the one that killed him.
Ghost!
Is there a famous scene?
There's a scene where they're like,
The pottery wheel.
she's
Yeah.
doing
I just like
pottery,
Her description.
and he's sitting behind her, and they have their hands together, and they're making a ceramic bowl.
Do you remember your reaction to that scene? You were mad because he ruins her bowl.
Oh,
It's a perfectly good bowl. No reason to ruin
Stupid
it.
ghost.
I just remember Mom talking about that, and she's like, if I was to meet more, I would be mad because that bowl looked really good, and he just came and ruined it. All right, so it's 4-1, so it's...
Whoa.
We can see if this is a tie or this is for all the marble. All right, this is the last one.
another Hugh Grant movie, and is it Emma Thompson's in there? There's a lot of people.
Love
and
Actually.
Yes.
It's a bunch
Hell
of
yeah.
different stories
Hell yeah.
of people who are interested romantically.
She's
in
avoiding
each other.
saying love.
They have a romantic interest.
Yeah, great comeback by Tricia.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, I'm losing? That's okay. I will not lose in a minute.
That was a very impressive showing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so that was the mom game. Yeah, you're the first guest to ever win the mom game.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Do I win like a piece of bread or something?
Yeah.
You win the podcast. You're the new host.
Oh my God.
We have to surrender all the equipment to you.
Yes. I want ownership. Let's
Yeah.
sign a contract right after
Yeah,
this.
done. So Tricia, do you have anything where should people find you, and what should they check out of your stuff?
People should find me on Instagram at KeyLimePie4,
Okay.
all one word.
Do you have any shows coming
and
up?
I have a Facebook. Yes. And I do have a show on November 9th at Dexter's in East Hampton, Connecticut.
Cool.
And I have a show next Tuesday in East Hampton, Massachusetts at the 413. And I have shows kind of all over. Like I have a show this Thursday or tomorrow night at Windsor Arts Center in Connecticut.
I'll have to edit this episode really fast to get that.
No, don't worry about it. Just reject
so
it.
next Tuesday is what?
Next Tuesday is the 413. Yeah, it's the 15th.
Okay.
Come to it,
Of October.
though.
Yeah.
Yes. October 15th. The Toby.
We've been to your show. We went on a night. You weren't there,
Yes,
though.
I remember. Isn't that so sad?
How do you remember if you weren't there?
I heard you were there. Somebody was talking about how the Dusty VCR
Really?
people were there.
Really?
Oh,
Guys, I'm everywhere.
Words
All right?
getting around.
I
We
know.
had
Word
like
is
one guest at that
around.
point. Well, that's exciting.
Listen, guys, there's like one podcast in the whole valley. So people are vying.
Also, we were the only guests at that show. We were the only audience.
That's amazingly heroic. I appreciate that.
that was the open mic.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But it's-
why.
That was different.
If it's a show,
It wasn't
I
a
will
show
be
show.
there.
Yeah, it was open mic.
Because
Yeah.
it's hard for me.
I don't
want to
make
drive
it
all the
sound like
time.
your shows are empty. It was the open mic.
Yeah, it was just an open mic. Yeah, we usually get a nice little crowd
Yeah.
for our show, and it's really fun, like putting together all different lineups and like picking people, and it's kind of like you're curating like a beautiful bouquet, like ooh, a little bit of this type of comedy, ooh,
Yeah.
and some of these one-liners, like it's, and then when you're done, you're like, that was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And even if there's only like a couple people there, the couple people that are there are usually like, that was really fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good job. Like, that was so good.
Yeah. We get to like, because we don't perform comedy, but we kind of get to pretend to be in the comedy community through the podcast.
You
And so,
guys
like,
could be comedians.
yeah, we like to
You
think
have
that.
comedian vibes.
Yeah. But it's fun for us to like go to shows and be like, ooh, who would be a good match for our podcast?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like dating, but for your podcast.
Yeah. All right. So thanks everybody for listening. You can find us online at dustyvcr.com, or you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the DustyVCR. If all goes well, this is our first episode with an outro. So as I'm saying this, you should hear the beginnings of an outro.
Keep it dusty.
Bye, guys.
Bye.